Brandon Crow watching from Hockey Canada. Writes in and he says, my wife and her two sisters all played NCAA Division I hockey. They attribute it to waiting around that chute as kids and using those prairie oysters as hockey puck. Shooting them for the dog. Here's
Bingo!
one. All the raw testicles that I collected one day, I put them in a margarine container. Remember the old Imperial margarine that had the purple crowns around it? Yeah. I put them all in there, and I took them to a party, a bush party. You've been there, Moose. You weren't at that one, but you've been to them. And I was going to cook them. I was going to cook them and make people eat them and not tell them what they were till after. But it didn't matter because Philip Kenyon took one, popped it in his mouth, crunched it raw. And he was smiling, and the blood ran down. Just like that.
He knew what it was?
I will never forget. He knew what it was. Philip Kenyon.
That was Fear Factor before there was Fear Factor with Joe Rogan.
I know. Beer might have been involved. But the next time that we're driving to Montana, I'll show you exactly where it is, because a lot of stuff went down at that site. A lot of stuff. I'm not going to go any further, but just remind me later. I'll tell you about the bikers that were on their way back from Sturgis from the rally that stopped at our party.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
We're downtown on the weekend, downtown Toronto, and I was about to turn right when in the rearview mirror I noticed a cyclist coming right by, hit the brakes, narrowly avoided hitting him. He turned, waved at me, said thank you. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was a near-death experience. I thought I was going to end up in the news.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, the Moose almost killed Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll let him tell the story again when he's with us live, because he's not with us. He is in Indonesia on vacation. Welcome to a Football Friday, everybody. It's a very special show. Jim Barker is on the way today, and Mike Vanderjagt, Super Bowl winning and Grey Cup winning kicker of the Indianapolis Colts. Mike Vanderjagt coming up later in hour two. But David Pedersen, the sports doctor, is going to join us right out of the chute from Winnipeg. Very big night in Winnipeg tonight. And Dave, hold your applause, hold your comments. I'm just going to say, can you please, Director Jordan, hit the Quick Six show horn, and we'll get down to business. We'll get going. Or producer Tuna Turner, whoever runs that. We got Jim Barker coming up in the next segment. Sports Doctor's just going to ride shotgun with me, co-hosting here as we open the program here with the Quick Six show topics in the warm-up. David, Brock Purdy threw for 255 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the San Francisco 49ers never trailed in a 36-24 victory over the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Deebo Samuel had a 76-yard catch and run touchdown. Finished with 3 catches for 102 yards for the defending NFC champions. San Fran improved to 3-3. Seattle also 3-3. They've lost 3 in a row. David, I don't know about you. The 49ers led the whole game. I was not shocked by any of that. It wasn't a real good game. Is there a Week 6 NFL game that has your interest way more than the others? I know your Vikings are off. So what are you going to be watching for this weekend?
Well, there's a big NFC on Sunday. I think the NFC South matchup, the Tampa Bay and New Orleans game, that'll be fun to watch. I think Tampa Bay's got an exciting team, but the Monday nighter has all the intrigue in my mind because of the what's with the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. That's always an exciting matchup, and then we're going to see what the Jets are going to do after turfing their head coach.
Well, coming up in hour two, we're going to play Deal or No Deal NFL. Just me, because there is no Moose to do it. And when I say there's going to be a lot of fun had today, we're going to get into the CFL right now, and I'm also going to ask David his take a little later on in this segment about the Winnipeg Jets hosting their home opener tonight. But in hour two, it's going to be just me for 40 minutes, everybody. So the Rider fans that have tuned in and want to talk about the Plaza game on Saturday, Saskatchewan home to BC. A lot of that talk will be in hour two. Roy Shivers, your buddy Dave, inducted into the Rough Riders Hall of Fame last night, along with your other buddy Darian Durant. I got reports, I got stories, I got stuff. But that's in hour two. Point two. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers can clinch first place in the CFL's West Division tonight when they host the Toronto Argonauts. If Winnipeg wins, it'll be 9 wins in a row for the Bombers. A tie against Toronto would also give the Bombers their 4th straight title. But if they lose, they could still capture first place if the Rough Riders lose or tie in the Plaza game Saturday against BC. Here we are, and I can't, for the life of me, pick a winner between the Bombers and the Argos tonight. I was going to ask you who you thought, and then I saw your coat over your shoulder. I'm pretty sure who you think's going to win tonight at Princess Auto Stadium.
Well, if you remember going back, I believe it was whatever the game, around July the 25th, the Bombers should have won the game in Toronto. And there was no Chad Kelly in that game, but there's some dubious officiating near the end. The Bombers almost pulled that one out. I think that's when the Bombers really started to right the ship. After that, I don't believe, if my math is correct, that might have been the Bombers' last loss. So there's something to prove to avenge that defeat at the hands of the Toronto Argonauts. The other thing is the playoff, the first place, and that bye week is in sight. And I think that is tremendous motivation. I don't think anybody's going to coast in this game. I think that this is going to be a statement game for anybody that doubted the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and a lot of people did, including myself. You know, we were a lot of concern when they started 0-4. But as you said, they've just been plowing through the other teams. We saw it last home game against Edmonton. That was just the Zach Calera show. We never win in Hamilton. We won in Hamilton. I can't see any situation that like I said last week when you asked me about BC Calgary, I can't see any situation. Last time I couldn't see any situation that BC was going to lose, and they won despite being behind at halftime, I think. And I can't see any situation that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers don't pull it off tonight and capture first place in the CFL West.
Yeah. But you also have a Blue Bombers jacket over your shoulder, and you're a season ticket holder, Dave, so I can't take your opinion. Here's the thing. Out of the 9 teams in the CFL, I don't cheer for any of them. My CFL heart beats for the CFL, but as far as cheering for any teams, it's been ripped out, and that's a good thing. I don't feel anything for any of the teams, unlike you and the Bombers and the Vikings. It's completely understandable. But I'm not the only one. It's our poll question today. Who wins on Friday Night Football? I want people to help me choose a winner because I can't. Coming up in hour two, I got Moose's picks all the way from Indonesia, where the CFL is very big in Indonesia. Moose has sent his picks from Bali. 51% of people think the Toronto Argonauts are going to win tonight. 51%. That's how close of a call this is. I looked up at covers.com. Hang on. I looked up at covers.com. The Bombers are favored by 3.5, but my Florida posse,
Spicy.
that's what I'm going to call my CFL fan friends down here. The Florida posse. We all think the Argos need it more and want it more, and that's why I think Toronto's going to win. I'm making the pick right now. You're going to say something. Go ahead.
I was going to say the largest part of your Canadian Football League audience is based in Saskatchewan. And Saskatchewan are the people that booed the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and cheered for the Toronto Argonauts back at the Grey Cup at Mosaic Stadium. So we really can't take this one very, very seriously right now. Like, wait for a little later as we spread out, as you spread out across the country and people start tuning in. You know what the right answer is going to be. It's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Are you going to the Grey Cup, by the way?
This year I have no plans right now, but as you can imagine, that everybody's coming out of the woodworks right now saying, I got an extra room, I got an extra place, I got an extra bed, you know, I got an extra, you sleep in the back of my car, like everybody. So I don't want to be the guy that doesn't go to the Grey Cup when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So never say never. I'm not booked yet, but there's a couple of reasons why. Vancouver is it's like going to Super Bowl in terms of when you go to the Grey Cup. You know how expensive things are. It's just out of control. I think we're going to save a little bit of our oomph for 2025 in Winnipeg, where the tickets are already on sale for the season ticket holders, and there's been a big chunk of tickets already sold. So,
okay. Well, as I was running on the treadmill at Johnny O's Gymnasium the other day, I was listening to NHL radio and really enjoying it. I was listening to Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk and really enjoying it. It was a long run, by the way. And I sat there and thought, damn, I wish there was a CFL channel. I just wish there was a CFL channel. I don't want to sit there and talk it. I want to listen to it. Talk to me about it. But that's what we do here on Fridays. We can be your CFL channel on Fridays for a couple of hours. By the way, Jim Barker coming up in hour 2. Segment 2 next. And I want to also remind you, we're brought to you by Culligan. Hour 1's brought to you by Culligan. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Speaking of the Queen City, there is a Saturday doubleheader in the Canadian Football League, David, and the first of which is the BC Lions at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. If I have the time, no, it's flipped. But we'll start talking with the BC Lions at the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Plaza game. I started to read the game notes, David, then I realized none of this, the stats don't matter. Who cares about the last time this happened? Blah, blah, blah. No. Who wins this game gets second place in the West. That's all you need to know. I'm talking about milestones and leading the league in this state. All that matters is who wins this game gets second. And I should tell you, Dave, I don't know if it's the last time they played, but the BC Lions destroyed Saskatchewan earlier this season, and VA threw for 451 yards. Justin McInnes had over 200, and VA ain't even playing. So what do you think's going to happen in this game?
That's the matchup, which is the game of the week in my mind because of all the ramification. Both, obviously both teams are in the playoffs, and again, this is a home date. Essentially, you're controlling your own destiny. And we all know that the BC Lions are a very good coached team, but you're dealing with a lot of emotion. You're dealing with emotion at home at Mosaic Stadium. I mean, you've honored the legends last night. It's almost like the party weekend. The building should be full. I know there's been some laughing around the league about how the building will get full in terms of 2-for-1 tickets and giveaways and things like that. But it doesn't matter. A full building's a full building, and one thing about the Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, doesn't matter if you paid for a ticket or someone handed you a ticket or it came with a case of beer, you're going to make a lot of noise. And that's going to be very, very tough for the BC Lions. So I do think that Saskatchewan Roughriders will come through in this one, being the home team and riding that emotion.
I know what you're saying. I heard about the 2-for-1 tickets is going to be giveaways. I don't care about CFL business anymore. I don't stick my nose into it. I stick to what's going on the field. There was a time when Plaza Weekend was a special game, Dave. You're the neighboring province. You were watching. The game was automatically sold out. You wanted to honor the legends. That's not there anymore. Kevin the Medium has checked in from Airdrie, Alberta. He says the Bombers are an amazing team. Their fans have taken the place of Rider fans for being the most obnoxious. The Smurf Mafia is out of control. Yeah, well, they've earned it. And I will say this show is very popular in Winnipeg. We all know that. It's because I give them the respect. They deserve it. They're going to be sold out tonight. It's the third straight season the Bombers have led the CFL in attendance. They're on the cusp of going to the Grey Cup for 5th consecutive season. So, Kevin, mind your business and worry about the BC Lions, which Scott in Toronto writes in, and he says, 2022 Nathan Rourke arrives on Saturday. Oh, is he being brought in a time machine? What do you think, Dave? What do you think? Hot Tub Time Machine shows up at Mosaic on Saturday?
I don't know. We've just seen that inconsistent play. I don't know. Like you said, like when Vernon Adams played in that game when they just routed the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I don't know why. It's like the Buffalo Bills when Doug Flutie was the quarterback, right? It was just like, nope, he's not our number one. We're putting the other guy in. And then they, basically pooped the bed. So this is the same kind of a situation. I think you have to go with the player that gives you the best chance to win. And history says that Vernon Adams gives the BC Lions the best chance to win. And if you don't put him in, like I said, Saskatchewan Roughriders will ride that emotion into the win column at the end of Saturday night.
If the BC Lions botch this, then it's far too early to tell. But if they're not in the Grey Cup, after all the money they've spent on Nathan Rourke and Matthew Betts coming back from the NFL, somebody should pay. But today's not the day for that conversation. Ron in Calgary writes in. He says, great show, Rod. Riders 38, BC 22. Rob in Yorkton writes in, David. Here's the segue. Rob from Yorkton in the Garlic Belt. He writes in and he says, Winnipeg Jets fans are delusional. They will never win a cup. Yet at a game, they give me flack about wearing my Bruins jersey with a 2011 cup patch. That's from Rob in Yorkton. You're a parade town. After the Jets routed the Oilers the other night, 6-0, are they going to use the same parade route for the Stanley Cup as the Grey Cup, Dave, or what's the talk there?
Well, you got the Chicago Blackhawks in town tonight, and then the Minnesota Wild. I think the Minnesota Wild always put up a better fight than the Chicago Blackhawks. But, I think that right now the Winnipeg Jets fan base is very jaded from what we saw prior to the game with that Sportsnet question. Assuming that Vancouver, Toronto, and Edmonton make the playoffs, what other Canadian team will? Well, why are we making that assumption? Who finished number 4 last year in the league? The Winnipeg Jets came up. I know that they didn't see, that wasn't bulletin board material because they were in the dressing room. They're getting ready for the game. But what a statement game against Edmonton to come out and clean them. Edmonton, the Stanley Cup favorite. Why are we disrespecting the Florida Panthers all of a sudden? Why can't they be defending champions? Why all of a sudden is everybody... this isn't 1984 with Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier anymore. This is a much different Edmonton Oilers team, and we saw that on opening night.
John writes in, he says, that Sportsnet poll was pure BS. It's too bad that I never worked in Winnipeg and was on the air in that town. I thought maybe I could have had some impact. I counseled Rider fans for a generation, and it helped. They're still crazy, but for a generation, they calmed down a little bit. In Winnipeg, Dave, who cares what the poll says? It doesn't matter. Can you tell people that? Who cares what they say on sport? I hope you weren't upset about that because it doesn't mean jack squat.
Yeah, but I did sit up. Like I was watching this and I was kind of like, same thing, looking at their scores, looking what's going on. And I had to put pause and hit back 15 seconds to say, did I just read that correctly? Like, why are we making this assumption? Like, it should be which Canadian teams will make the playoffs. That'd be a better question. You could basically say that, we don't think Ottawa is going to be there. We don't think Calgary is going to be there. But don't give the disrespect right out of the gate. Like, Montreal came out of the chute and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this was Sportsnet. This wasn't TSN, which, TSN opens up every sports center with about 25 minutes worth of Toronto Maple Leaf stuff. Right? It's just the strangest thing for Sportsnet West, which I was watching on, to do that. Now, that could have been the East panel. I don't know. I don't remember. But all I remember is going, something just doesn't seem right with this question.
Well, again, it doesn't matter. They got the reaction, which, quite frankly, is their job and what they were looking for. Sports Doc, go back to your patients. Thank you for this. Good seeing you, buddy. Have fun tonight.
Brett, thanks for having me on.
One more comment before we dip for our first break. Trent in Norway writes in and he says, Norway here. Time will tell what Nathan Rourke or Vernon Adams can do. If BC doesn't make the Grey Cup, the Riders just might, if they can make the jump. Optimism reigns supreme. Have a great weekend. Here's the thing, Trent. They don't have time. They don't have time. Maybe you're sitting back and watching to see what Vernon Adams and Nathan Rourke will do. Lions don't have time. Only one can play behind center at a time. And are they making the right call? That's the question. CFL on TSN's Jim Barker joins us next. As I said, this is a CFL extravaganza every Friday for a couple of hours. You're welcome. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio. Streaming live on YouTube, of course, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sasgix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Folks, join veteran NHL coach Lauren Mulliken, Rough Riders great Bob Coley, curler Gil Dash, and me at the first ever Wolseley Celebrity Sports Dinner on Saturday, October 19th. That's a week from tomorrow. A night of sports, laughs, and a great dinner benefiting the Wolseley Sportsplex. For tickets, email wolseley.arenaboard@gmail.com. I can't wait to get back into the 306. It's going to be fun. But first, we got a lot going on between now and then. CFL on TSN's Jim Barker joins us. And Jim, I know I appreciate you always sitting back, tuning in, watching the first segment. Before I get to my questions, do you have any comments coming out of what I was talking about with the sports doc earlier?
No, it was good stuff. Nothing, no comments.
Okay. Well, then I'll ask you. I really can't decide between Toronto and Winnipeg tonight. Because we got to make picks. And if it matters, the Bombers are favored by 3.5. But I'm leaning to the double blue. How about you?
Yeah, the Bombers, it's kind of an interesting game for them because this is really the last game I believe they'll play their people. They have a bye next week, and then they play Montreal the last week, which, Montreal picked to go to the Grey Cup from the East. So the chances of them playing anybody or doing anything are very small in that last game. So I don't think they want to go in with 2 losses. So I think Winnipeg's going to put everything they have into it. With that being said, the one team that lines up well against Winnipeg, that matches up with them, is Toronto, because their fronts are so good. Where Toronto's weak is a bit in the secondary. Again, which receiving core, the receiving core they've had the last 3 or 4 weeks, Winnipeg, the way Kenny Lawler has stepped up, and they're just playing out of their head. Zach Collaros is playing MOP type ball. Brady Oliveira is making a late push to be the MOP. So it's really, I mean, they're playing as well as they can play now. Their last home game, it's sold out. It's a tough one for the Double Blue, but I just believe that they match up well. Chad Kelly, anytime he's playing, it gives them an opportunity. And if they can not turn the ball over and not do the things the team against Winnipeg, you look at these quarterbacks. I mean, quarterbacks play Winnipeg and then they get benched. That's kind of been the MO the last few weeks. And whoever plays Winnipeg comes out just terrible in terms of throwing the ball and that type of thing. So I think Toronto needs to run the ball and stay patient with it and keep the ball away from Winnipeg. They want to play Brady ball or bully ball or whatever you want to call it, Winnipeg style football. And Toronto can do that too. And Toronto needs to have the patience to do it. So they had a great game that first one. Remember, O'Shea opted to not kick the field goal and run another play before he kicked it. And so this is going to be a great football game. This is a huge game for Toronto because if they win this one, they got a great chance to host a playoff game.
Of course, and that's why I got to pick to win. But I got to ask you this. Of all the game notes, because they don't really matter, I think, this time of year, but Chad Kelly's 3-3 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off being 18-1 all time. Like, why is he not the same? Is that from missing the first half of the season, a rhythm thing, or why is he not dominating?
You know what? There's a lot of things that could go into it. I mean, the things he's gone through, the things he goes through on a daily basis. You don't know where that is. Again, he's got a revamped offensive line. He's got Anthony Vandal, a 8th-round pick, playing right guard now instead of the people he had. He had Gregor McKellar last year, most of the year, who played pretty well for a young guy. He had Nicastro and Sirocco most of the time at right guard and center. So he's got a bit of a different group there. Again, it's not an excuse. He needs to play at his top level. He's 3-3, and what is Nathan? I don't know what Nathan Rourke is, but since those guys have come back, they haven't made the kind of difference I think people thought they would. I know I thought BC would take off. I thought Toronto would take off with, because they were 500 with with Arbuckle and Cameron Dukes. So I thought it would really be a big boon for them. But they've had some other injuries and just haven't played. Chad had, I think he's like Rourke. He's had 1 or 2 really good quarters. He had not even full games. And again, this is the time. Right now, these next 3 weeks, we're going to see what Chad Kelly and Nathan Rourke are all about. If they are what we thought they were in their past, they're going to come out and they're going to play lights out. I mean, Chad Kelly's going to go punch for punch with Zach Collaros, looking to be 3-time or 4-time MOP. I mean, he's going to go punch for punch with him. And Nathan Rourke's going to come out and win that game in Regina over a Trevor Harris-led Saskatchewan Rough Rider team in their own backyard. So, and if they're not, then they're not. And again, we're going to have an interesting playoff. I mean, that game is intriguing. That Saskatchewan and BC game in
Let me just stop you for a sec. Stop you for a sec. The Bar Flies in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Chad Kelly's getting thrown off by what's being hurled at him from the crowd. All I'll say is it probably is mental more than anything with Chad Kelly, but for the Argos' sake, I hope they turn it around. Now, to that Rider BC game, I thought for a second you were saying that Nathan Rourke was going to come in and lead them to win. You're not necessarily picking that. You're basically just saying he needs to do that.
If he is who they think he is. I mean, that first year he was everything. They scored almost at will. He was incredible. You remember back to before he went to the NFL. He hasn't been that since he's been back. In fact, that team hasn't been near as good since he's been back. And we talk about it every week here. Having two great quarterbacks is a great thing as long as you're winning. But as soon as you're not, it becomes a major issue. And Rick Campbell's got a major issue on his hands, because I can promise you there are people in that locker room that says we got a better chance to win with VA. I mean, it's just that's human nature. And again, you create those kind of problems, and it's if you're winning, great thing. I got VA sitting here waiting to go. But when you're not winning and VA's sitting here and he's saying, I put up 460 yards against these guys last time we played. I mean, I own Saskatchewan. And, and if they're struggling at all, which I think they will, I think their offensive line is going to struggle against the front of Saskatchewan. I mean, when they put Miles Brown and Micah Johnson and Lanier all in there coming at, they're tough up front. I mean, I think they miss Malik Carney a little bit. I think they need that little bit more speed off the edge. Cox is playing pretty well. And then that linebacking core with Revis and Thurman, it's just been outstanding. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they protect Nathan Rourke and whether they can run the ball. The last 4 games, Saskatchewan's given up like 60 yards a game rushing. And I think that has been BC's problem. They got bullied by Saskatchewan last year in the playoffs. Basically, they couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't run the ball. And that if that happens to them again this year, it's going to happen to them first against Saskatchewan, because I think this Saskatchewan team is built to be physical, to run the ball a little bit. They're going to start 3 Americans on the offensive line for the first time. They're going to bring Brammer back, put him at right guard with Tate at right tackle, and then Reed at left tackle. So they are going to try to run the ball. A.J. Oletta's back, and he'll be loaded for bear. So it's going to be an interesting contest to me, because you know how I am with physicality. I mean, it's all about physicality. And can BC match the physicality Saskatchewan's going to have? I don't know.
It should be a hell of a game. That is the game of the week. I think the one tonight will be a better game, but the bigger game in terms of results is the one you're talking about right there. Here's one. The Toilet Bowl, brought to you by Mr. Plumber. Edmonton at Calgary on Saturday. I got to get your take on the Stamps signing P.J. Walker. Like, what are they doing over there? I guess they're auditioning people.
Well, to be honest with you, I like P.J. Walker a lot for our league. He's 29 years old. He started 2 games last year for the Browns. He was a USFL. He played for June Jones. I think he's tailor-made for our league, and if he gets in the right system, I think that's a great get for them. I mean, they got him from Toronto. He was on their neg list, and they traded a couple of other neg list players to get him. And I think that's it's a sign of, you know what, Schultz and Logan Bonner and Jake Mayer are not our answer. But maybe P.J. Walker is. Now, he won't play this week, but I will be surprised if he doesn't play in their last 2 games and have a chance to make a mark on and show what he can do in this league. And personally, I like him a lot. I think he's a guy who has the experience and the savvy. June Jones said he was a great leader. June really loved him. He thought he was a fantastic player. So I think that's a great sign, a great trade and sign for them to be able to get a guy like that, especially when they're in the quarterback situation they're in. And now they got a couple weeks they can actually see him in action and get a feel of what that's all about, so they know what they have coming in next year. And then how about Edmonton? Edmonton sitting down.
Just hang on. Let me just say this with P.J. Walker. I recall he was the XFL MVP with Houston, signed with Carolina. I'm a fan too, but I think that the thing that I don't understand is Calgary known as a quarterback factory, and you don't know who your quarterback is? That just seems weird to me. and now to the Elks. How about you?
Well, again, I think this is the only thing they can do is to play Trey Ford and see what they have. Now, this could be great for Trey. He's going to get an opportunity to play and show what he can do. And basically, every snap he takes is about money for him next year. How much if Edmonton pays him, he's going to stay there. But he's not going to stay there if they don't pay him the way they paid Taylor Cornelius a few years and that type of thing. So they've tried to sign him, but they haven't come close to what he wants in money. And I believe that they will take, again, a lot of it depends on how he plays. If he goes out and poops the bed these last few games, his value drops rapidly. I mean, he's still under 500 as a starter in this league. And he's got tools that no other player in this league has. But you have to be able to win games. And again, he's not on a great team, but he's going to get an opportunity. And how he plays basically is just, you're going to see his potential salary go up by how well he plays or go down by how poorly he plays. So it's a huge game for him. He's got a great receiving core. I think they've got a great running game. And, if he can go out and play and show some of that magic, I think Edmonton will go out and re-sign him. But again, is this Jarius Jackson's call? I would guess, but early we heard McLeod was going to start, and then all of a sudden it came down that McLeod wasn't even going to dress. So it's interesting to know, what Larry Thompson is thinking, because right now these games, because they're completely out of the playoffs, are about the future. And you have a coach and a GM that may not care too much about the future. They care about keeping their job now.
Yeah, and you just talked about the owner, who's self-professed season ticket holder since he was 12. He's a construction guy, and he's going to be making the decision on the future of the franchise. I'm sure he's a great guy, but this is where teams get into trouble, as you know. Speaking of ownership, one last question is an NFL one, Jim. Just reading an article this morning on Deshaun Watson, leading the NFL in sacks, 26 he's taken. You're an offensive guy. Do you put that on the O-line and the offense, or how much do you put on the O-line versus the quarterback himself?
Well, I put a lot, on the running game and their ability to run and things like that. A lot of it is coaching. There's a lot of things that go into that. So, again, the Browns right now are a broken team, and Deshaun Watson is probably not the guy to get them out of that. I mean, you look at Joe Flacco last year, and he didn't take those kind of sacks with the Browns. I think they're very similar. They've lost Mixon. I don't know if they have Mixon last year. I can't recall. But all I know is when you're taking sacks, it's a combination of quarterback, system, and to me a little bit of offensive line. I mean, you're going to have guys, you have mismatches, but Doug Flutie. I mean, I was fortunate, and I was an offensive line coach for Doug Flutie in this league back in '97. And he used to say to me, Jim, you just have to give me exactly where our matchup problems are, and that guy won't make the tackle. So if we had a right guard who was outmatched by a 3 technique, he said, that guy won't make the tackle. Just make sure we block up everybody else. Great quarterbacks know where their pressure is going to come from. They know if they have problems on the offensive line. So I don't like to necessarily put it there. I put it on the scheme, like a lot of these coaches now trying to spread the field and run no back stuff, and they get short edges for the defensive ends to come off the edge, and the athleticism of the players in the NFL. That's tough to do. That is tough to do. So. Again, I think it goes into all 3 facets. But if you're a quarterback taking a bunch of sacks, you got to look in the mirror. And some of that's going to be you.
Good chat, Jim. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I'll be watching the games. I appreciate the time. It's been fun, as always.
Thank you. Next week, I'll be in L.A.
Okay, we'll keep in touch. I can't wait.
My 50th high school reunion.
That's all? I don't believe it. All right. Enjoy, man. Enjoy the game.
Thanks.
CFL on TSN's Jim Barker joining us from Toronto. When we come back, a sports update. And as a matter of fact, for the next hour, It's just you and me. So get your questions and comments in via the YouTube chat or 902-518-3033. We'll tell you what else is going on in sports when we return on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, of course, and Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Back to normal here in South Florida. Getting through Hurricane Milton, we were very lucky on this side of the state. Hey, get your questions and comments in now, as I mentioned, 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat. For instance, I appreciate the new viewers tuning in. Go Long. That is the name of this account, unless you're a relation of my friend Rick Long. A relation to my good friend Rick Long from Yellowgrass. This account is Go Long. Says Winnipeg must pressure Chad Kelly. Right? Talking about not the game of the week. That's Saturday Riders and Lions. But what might be the most entertaining game is tonight, Toronto-Winnipeg. I don't quite understand this from Colin in Ottawa, but that's okay. I'm not that bright, and we've established that I'm terrible at math. But Colin in Ottawa watching, he says, if Toronto wins tonight, I don't think my Red Blacks will be able to catch up with them. And therefore, no home playoff game for Ottawa. What am I missing? Each team has 3 games left, and Ottawa is only 1 point up. So unless you're talking about further schedule, I'm missing something there. Please enlighten me. By the way, we do think, talk hockey, and play it here in Florida, but not as much as Canada or Western Canada. And hockey teams, are you looking for just the right place for your team bonding sessions and outings? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. With state-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, and games for all ages, Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination to build teams, whether they're from the Calgary area or if you're on a road trip from out of town. Book your lanes today, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. We're only a couple of nights into the NHL season, and please don't form any generalizations by what's gone on so far, because it has been crazy. Tonight, the Winnipeg Jets will host their NHL home opener when they welcome the Chicago Blackhawks after starting the season strong with a 6-0 win over the Edmonton Oilers Wednesday. Also tonight, the Vancouver Canucks host the Philadelphia Flyers. Rick Tackett's former team in town. Canucks looking to rebound after a 6-5 overtime loss to the Calgary Flames. Are you watching the baseball? Pinch hitter David Fry had a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 7th inning, then bunted home an insurance run in the 9th to help the Cleveland Guardians force a decisive Game 5 against the Detroit Tigers in their American League Division Series with a 5-4 victory Thursday. Game 5 goes Saturday in Cleveland. Meanwhile, Garrett Cole held the Kansas City Royals to a single run over 7 innings Thursday night, sending the New York Yankees to a 3-1 victory to put them back into the ALCS. The 6-time All-Star scattered 6 hits and struck out 4 before giving way to the New York bullpen. I'm going to save the college football till next hour where we have a little more time. There's so much going on. By the way, the sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Joker. From acclaimed writer-director Todd Phillips comes Joker, Folie à Deux, the much-anticipated follow-up to 2019's Academy Award-winning Joker, which earned more than $1 billion at the global box office and remains the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time. In Landmark Cinemas now, Joker, Folie à Deux. I was actually going to go to that this afternoon, but oddly enough, it's not, I don't want to wait till 4:30. I think they said it's showing at 12:45 and then not till 4:30. I was looking for something early to mid-afternoon. But I will go to it. Just not necessarily this afternoon. I wanted to have some fun with you, as I said, for the next hour, taking your texts, YouTube comments, 902-518-3033. It was Plaza of Honor night last night in Saskatchewan, and 2 members went into the Hall of Fame of that football team. Former general manager Roy Shivers. Probably going to save more of this for my weekend column than what I will bore you with on national television today in both Canada and the USA. Roy Shivers, former running back for the St. Louis Cardinals, first ever black general manager, I believe, in pro football history with the Birmingham Barracudas. Went into Saskatchewan's Hall of Fame. We started out getting along great. I was the voice of the team. He was the general manager of the team. By the end, we hated each other. And it happened over 7 years. That seems to happen in a lot of my relationships. So maybe it's me. I don't know. And quarterback Darian Durant went in as well. We're very close. See, Darian and I were friends for longer and are still very good friends. So I don't know if it's me. Roy told the crowd last night, same age as my mom, and if she were still alive, she'd be 81. So Roy's in his early 80s. And he says he told the crowd last night he is not mellowing with age and that he's still an a-hole. I believe that. I do. 902-518-3033. You can see the wheels. You can smell the smoke coming out of this Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, yeah, I mean that in the end, the Red Blacks would have to beat the Argos next week and hope that the Elks beat the Argos, and there's... Yeah, let's see, this is the more fun stuff than that. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, he says, I have never gone to a matinee. Oh, you're missing out. Not only do I regularly go to matinees, but one time in the late 90s, there was a theater in Saskatoon, and I can't remember the name of it. It might have been a Rainbow Theater. Not only did I go to a matinee of Rami and Michelle's high school reunion, I was the only one in the theater. I had a command performance of Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. About 98. Oh, you're missing out, bro, if you don't go to matinees. Randy from Winnipeg writes in regarding the Thursday night game last night. San Francisco motorboating the Seattle Seahawks last night. Randy from Winnipeg says, Brock Purdy, the 81st highest paid quarterback in the NFL, I heard on last night's game. See, that's why I do bring in the pundits like the Snowman yesterday. Because here's the interesting thing. You got Sam Darnold of Minnesota making $10 million, and they're 5-0. And you got Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the last player taken in the draft, taking the 49ers to the Super Bowl last year. I'm not sure what he makes, but it ain't $60 million like Dak Prescott in Dallas. But as the Snowman pointed out yesterday, yeah, Purdy's on his entry-level contract, and it's cheap, but he's going to get paid. Sam Darnold probably won't. From Eco writes in, hi, Rod, it's Will from Toronto. Who do you have for the Padres and Dodgers series? Who would you like to see in the World Series? Mets, Yankees would be cool. Oh, my goodness. If you can wait until next hour. You know what? I'm not going to wait. I'm going to put it in here right now. Dodgers pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto faces off against San Diego's Yu Darvish in Game 5 of the NLDS tonight. And the winner will meet the Mets in the NLCS, as Will in Toronto has pointed out. If it comes down to straight defense, which I used to think it did, now the baseball pundits are saying, no, it comes down to home runs. Offense, I think I got to go with Yu Darvish and the Padres. I'll be cheering for the Padres against the hated L.A. Dodgers in our house. Serena does not like the Dodgers. You have to ask her why. I'm going with Yu Darvish and the Padres. And then a Subway Series. That's an interesting thing because they say, well, only New York would care. Nah, I don't think so. That's two iconic franchises. So I'll go with the Padres to win this one tonight and move on to the NLCS. I know we're way late for a break. We'll be right back, okay, with Viewer Takeover. It's a Football Friday, believe it or not, on Game Plus, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpedersen.com. Next hour is going to be even more fun. We're going to go back and forth. CFL, NFL, Plaza stories, Rider stories. Mike Vanderjack's going to be with us. NHL breakaway bets. Talking about baseball, it didn't take long. Baseball fans were just waiting in the weeds. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, he says, Soto to Toronto rumors starting already. I can't go through this again after coming so close to getting Ohtani. Donald in Ottawa, Navy Don writes in, he says, I watched the Tigers Guardians last night. It was fun to see the excitement of playoff baseball. Don't tell Gary from Penticton, Gary with 2 R's. He left us after I scolded him for saying, maybe you don't care about baseball, but we do, so worry about yourself. This text has come in from Edmonton. She does not want to be identified, but she says, not to be read out loud, but this Dave Patrician guy, the sports doctor, is making me throw up. I don't agree with Kevin the Medium very often, but he's right here. Bombers fans make me nauseous. Allie in Edmonton writes in, she says, I'm enjoying the CFL extravaganza as always. Really happy that you and Serena are safe. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. We'll talk about that, too, when we come back for hour 2 right after this brief pause. Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're downtown on the weekend, downtown Toronto, and I was about to turn right when in the rearview mirror I noticed a cyclist coming right by, hit the brakes, narrowly avoided hitting him. He turned, waved at me, said thank you. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was a near-death experience. I thought I was going to end up in the news.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah. So we're going to try something here into hour 2 of the RP show. What did I tell you earlier this week? Moose ain't here. That's Moose DuPont's voice you heard there telling the story of almost running over Arnold Schwarzenegger in downtown Toronto. That's a very Moose thing to do, but he didn't. He's on vacation in Indonesia, and now producer Clark is down in California. He's coaching a baseball team down there, All-Stars. So here's the crew. Me, producer Tuna Turner. What's love got to do with it? Tuna Turner. And director Jordan. Do you have a sound effect for that, Tuna? Anything will do. Cockle-doodle-doo. So it's just me and you. And I think we can handle it for 40 minutes. And then Mike Vanderjack is going to be with us later on this hour. And he was on not that long ago. I'd never interviewed him before. And listen, you all, CFL fans, NFL fans, here's the beautiful thing of what we do here. We can weave pretty seamlessly between the two leagues, the NFL and the CFL. And I thought Vanderjack had won a Super Bowl with the Colts. He missed it by a couple of years. But Mike Vanderjack has won 2 Grey Cups in the Canadian Football League with the Toronto Argonauts. I was looking up his Wikipedia here. He won an Arena Football League championship too. But the last time he was on,
And you old-time Rider fans and staff that watch this every day, you can chime in if you want. Like, for instance, Norm Fong, the Hall of Fame equipment manager, does regularly. He'll remember Vanderjack was cut from the Rough Riders. Let me look it up here. I got Vandy's. We're tight now, me and Vandy. 1993, he was with the Rough Riders. And he told the story about being cut. And I didn't remember this at the time. I wasn't working with the Rough Riders then. I'm not that old. He said that he went into Don Matthews, the coach, and said, hey, I got a wedding to go to this weekend. Could I miss the game? And Matthews was like, absolutely, you go to your wedding. Went to the wedding, came back on the Monday, you're cut. He's like, oh. Here's the thing. He went on, as you probably know, to set NFL records, win 2 Grey Cups, win an Arena League championship, Pro Bowler. Here's the thing. I say this very respectfully. You've been watching this show long enough, you understand this. For those of us that have been blessed with some natural talent, early on in our careers, we kind of need to be thumped upside the head to, it just comes easy. It does. And sometimes we need to be woken up and realize, hey, can you take this a little more seriously? Why? Oh. And that's what happened to Mike Vanderjack. And he's going to be with us a little later on this hour. I'm very much looking forward to that. He's represented by my business manager and speaker agent, Joe Gunnis. Mike Vanderjack is too, represents Jim Barker, Stu Grimson, all the greats from EMJ Marketing, which, by the way, this is perfect. I can handle this on my own. Used to be too scared to even try it. The poll question today is brought to you by EMJ Marketing, Speakers Bureau. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at EMJ Marketing. The poll question is, who wins on Friday night football? I couldn't decide. And I guess now would be a good time to make our CFL picks. And then next segment, we'll do our NFL deal or no deal. I couldn't decide between Toronto and Winnipeg tonight. It's so much, it didn't keep me up. Nothing keeps me up. Not able to sleep, I mean. But it did occupy more of my thoughts than normal this morning. Toronto at Winnipeg. Toronto needs it more. They haven't even clinched a playoff berth yet. And for that reason, maybe that's why they're leading with 51% of the vote on our poll for EMJ Marketing. It's that close. And the reason I went with that for the poll question today is Winnipeg is our number 2 city for viewership of the RP show. Toronto's up pretty high, too. 51% of you saying the Toronto Argonauts will win. I agree with you. They're my pick tonight. Moose is taking the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, which, by the way, if they win, it'll be their 9th in a row. They've sold out another game. They've announced it. For the 3rd consecutive season, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will lead the CFL in attendance. Bob's your uncle. And I'm leading Darren by 3 in our season-long pick predictions. But to be honest, I don't really care whether I win that one or not. Not that big a deal. Rod, can you take it a little more seriously? And then the rest of our picks are the same. Edmonton at Calgary in the Battle of Alberta. We've both got Edmonton to win. BC at Saskatchewan in the Plaza game. We've both got Saskatchewan to win. And then on Monday, Montreal home to Ottawa. We both have the Alouettes to win. And now that I think about it, let me go check this out. 902-518-3033. The text line, because some messages have come in. Mark is watching in Burlington, Ontario. He says, hey, Rod, your guy Cody and his wife had a baby yesterday. How'd I miss that? Did you know that, Tuna? Or Director Jordan? Got a sound effect for that? Hey, hey, hey.
LFG.
Somebody just, there you Sure. Hey, Luca has a little brother or sister. Congratulations to the Fajardo family. I didn't even know they were expecting. Cody and Laura Fajardo. But we had a lot of things going on around here this week in Florida. Maybe that's how I missed it. Which reminds me, Darcy in Grand Prairie, Alberta writes in. He was saying the Juan Soto to Toronto rumors are heating up. And I don't like to hear that. What do they? Ron Lancaster used to say this about Saskatchewan. If they haven't heard a rumor by noon, they start one. That's true. Is it the same in Toronto with the Blue Jays? The Blue Jays are out. So let's start some rumors here to keep people interested. Darcy goes on to say, also praying for you all down there during these storms. Thank you so much. Got through it. Narrowly a couple broken branches on our lawn. Although there was a tree down the street that was downed. We heard it go down the other night in the storm. Didn't know what it was. And then like a couple minutes later, we hear this ring, dun, 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 dun. It was a chainsaw. And the fire truck was out in the street, blocking off traffic, and they're cutting this tree into a bunch of segments. And I said, do you think they just happen to have a chainsaw in the fire engine? Are they using the jaws of life on this tree? Either way, that was the extent of what happened to us. It could have been a heck of a lot worse. Okay, got through our picks. 902-518-3033. Yeah, it works for me to go one day at a time, but I know it doesn't for a lot of people. And I also know for people around me, it drives them nuts that I can only work one day at a time, but that's the key to success for me. I can't think about anything other than today. It's too much. So the gentleman watching in Toronto wrote in last hour and said, who do you want to win the division series? Who do you want to win the championship series? Who do you want in the World Series? I'm like, but how about just today? So I said, I would like to see the Padres win because it's San Diego and they haven't won squat. Now, I understand the Shohei Ohtani situation with the Dodgers for sure. But you asked me today, who I want to see win Game 5, it's the Padres. Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat. He writes in and he says, the two media markets will go completely bonkers if it's a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. Probably not so much if it's Padres-Guardians. That's their problem, not mine. And speaking of that, I said that I would get into the. Can I hear from the Rider fans? Where are y'all at today? 902-518-3033. It's just you and me right now, coming off the Plaza induction ceremony last night, which, to be honest, I'm very disappointed in the coverage of it. That it's the Rough Riders Hall of Fame. Used to be a pretty big deal. I emceed that dinner for almost 20 years. If I didn't have a buddy sending me pictures, like a personal friend, he's not in the media, and telling me what was said, I wouldn't have even known that it happened. Come on. Nothing at the Riders website. Nothing. You get where I'm coming. It's just very disappointing. And I do have some stories on that, if you care to hear them. But Football Friday here, and then I mentioned that when Jim Barker was on with us, or was it Dave Patrician last hour, I said I was running this week listening to NHL radio and enjoyed it, listening to Mike Florio's Pro Football Talk and enjoyed that. And I was like, dagnabbit, I wish there was a CFL channel I could listen to. But there isn't. So I guess that'll be us on Fridays, the Canadian Football League. Not a lot of coverage of that either. God knows there's enough of college football, and I don't know how much I told you of last weekend. It was my friend Brent's birthday, and he had some of his buddies flew in, one from Mississippi, can't remember the name of the town, close to Pearl, but it wasn't Pearl, Mississippi. It was close to Pearl, Mississippi. And the other one from New Orleans, and they were just going goo-goo gaga about college football. Like, I mean, ridiculously crazy over college football. Which I get. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. But they're on their phones the whole afternoon, and I'm like, I get my ass kicked if I'm on my phone all the time. How come they can? And then they found it really interesting that I host this talk show every day, and it's on national television. And this was while Vanderbilt was in the process of upsetting Alabama. And they're like, this would be something for you to talk about. If the Crimson Tide lose this one, there'll be something for you to talk about. Serena's cackling and laughing in the corner going, he ain't going to be talking about college football on the RP show. Just so you know. Guys. So what do you talk about on there? The NHL and the Canadian Football League, guys.
They're from Mississippi and New Orleans. I might as well have told them I'm talking about splitting plutonium. And that's not to say we don't keep an eye on it. Like, for instance, this weekend, the Red River rivalry game's being played. Last time Texas entered the rivalry game, actually it's like this, right? Longhorns. Ranked number 1 was 1984 when the Longhorns and number 2 Sooners played to a 15-15 tie. This one shouldn't be so close. Quinn Ewers is back from injury. Texas has yet to give up 300 yards in a game. That's overall offense. And Oklahoma's offense is a mess. Pick the Longhorns in this one, the rivalry game, Red River rivalry game. They're playing that one in the Cotton Bowl, right? In Dallas. And as far as Alabama goes, the Crimson Tide have experienced incredible highs and lows the last 2 games, and surely are itching to play this game to get rid of the taste of the Vanderbilt upset. They got South Carolina at Alabama. It's only the second meeting of the Gamecocks and the Crimson Tide since 2010. The professional pickers are saying take Alabama by 19 points. So that's the thing. We keep our eye on it. We don't sit here and talk about it every day. Okay, now to the audience. Did I get you all warmed up here? John Ohm. Where's my stuff? John Ohm. Says, hey, Rod, is it too early in the show to ask you what's up for the weekend? No. Not when it's just me and you right now. We are going to the Florida Keys. That was always our plan. Last year, I don't want to name any names, but one of the Florida Panthers, you might remember this, John Ohm, you've been watching this show for a while. One of the Panthers said, hey, we're out of town. We know you're Canadian. Why don't you take the keys to my palace and my mansion in the Keys and go spend the weekend down there, you and Serena? Because it's Canadian Thanksgiving, and I know you're both Canadian. The offer didn't come this year. So we enjoyed ourselves so much, we're going to go down and do it again. But we're going to stay at our favorite place. It's in Key Largo, and I got to get, you'd think I would remember the name of it. Waterside Suites. Look it up.
Beautiful.
Waterside Suites, and it doesn't matter. That's what we're doing. We're going to the Keys. And there's a place, John, called Herbie's in Marathon, Florida, that was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And Guy Fieri was there, the Dave Patrician lookalike. And now every time we go to the Keys, it's a must. We got to go to Herbie's in Marathon, Florida. So we're going to do that Saturday. We've got it all planned out. We're going to race down there, go straight to Marathon, have lunch at Herbie's, and then probably kayak or boat or do something active in the afternoon, and then go to Mrs. Mack's, which is Serena's favorite place, for supper. Strap our feed bag on. And staying down there and coming back Monday night. Because there's no show Monday. Everybody know that? Because of Canadian Thanksgiving. Utah Darren writes in, he says, I would love to see a Yankees-Mets World Series. New York, New York. Dun, 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 dun. That's the thing. We were talking about that last hour. Some would say the rest of North America wouldn't care if it was a Subway Series, and I don't think that's the case. I think America would care, and the rest of Canada, too. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in, and you've showed up just in time, Jen. She says, good morning, y'all. Happy Friday and happy turkey long weekend. Coming up next segment, we'll play NFL Deal or No Deal. Your Green Bay Packers are playing this weekend at home. You probably know that. I think we could get into our NHL breakaway bets, too, which I'm a little hesitant to do because I have sucked in NHL picks. And here's the thing. I'm covering the NHL for the South Florida Tribune this year. So, i.e., following the NHL closer than I have since elementary school. And my picks are way off the mark. Like, who saw the Jets going in and motorboating the Oilers the other night 6-0? Or the Flames going in and winning in Vancouver? So my picks have been way off, but I feel like a lot of people's picks have been way off. Utah Darren. His Utah Hockey Club's 2-0. Who saw that? Outside the whatever your area code is in Utah. Utah Darren says, college football is the main religion of the South. See, that's the thing.
It's not a me problem. That was the point. It's a you problem. College football is bigger than the NFL here, but we're still going to talk about the NHL and the CFL because that's what we do, and that's what you become accustomed to, and that's why you're here. And if you guys don't want to watch the show, I'm not going to be offended. Dale writes in, he says, happy Thanksgiving all. Jack and I, now the last weekend of camping. Bombers on, Jets on, camping on. Great show. Be safe all. Thank you, Dale. And an hour ago, we did have the sports doctor on, and we talked about the Jets game tonight. We talked about the Bomber game tonight. We talked about it all for the Winnipeggers because that's a huge portion of our audience. Mike Vanderjack is on the way. NFL Deal or No Deal next, and NHL breakaway bets. Man, are you in for a treat? 902-518-3033. We'll be back in a moment here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, streaming live as always on YouTube, also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, that's what Thanksgiving looks like in Florida. And by the way, pardon me, just pounded a little pink drink in the break, and I'm having a burp. I don't want to be like the Motor City Madmouth and burp on the air like he did when he was on the show last week. Just with regards to our Thanksgiving plans, John Ohm says, that sounds fantastic, Rod. It is going to be fantastic. Yeah, life is very, very good. You're not going to believe this. I don't know if Tuna Turner, simply the best, Tuna Turner, our producer, heard this in the break, but there was a knock on the studio door here, Studio 1, as I'd like to call it. And it was a nice gal who said she just moved into the office building here, and she goes, I wanted to say hi. She goes, I'm from Montreal. I heard you talking hockey on the air. That's so cool. And I said, well, hey, we're in a commercial break right now. Perfect timing, a God shot, if you will. I said, I'll come back and say hi. I'm just in a commercial break right now. I don't even know what she does. Just pulled out a business card, gave it to her, and we'll be making acquaintances after today's program. Now, so I don't know why it takes so long. I said, get the comments in. Let's go. And here they are. Pierre Ducharme writes in, and he says, go Lions. You better be talking about the BC Lions, not the Detroit Lions, who are playing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. Mandy in Edmonton writes in. She says, what's going to happen in the Riders-Lions game this weekend? I'm at my dad's visiting, and he has a vested interest in the Riders. And she says, so happy you're safe, Rod. Saw a crazy news clip of an alligator attacking a car. See, that's one thing that I really like about Florida is the danger. There's a threat of something happening at any moment of time involving wildlife. Now, that's the same in Canada, too, of course. A deer, a moose, a fox, a coyote crossing the road, for sure. But they're very rarely going to come after you like an alligator. Serena's, no, she's not watching right now because she's had to drive up to West Palm Beach to get a massage. She's getting work done right now, but we moved into a new place and we got these geckos somehow getting into our new place. So she ordered gecko traps. They're just tiny little things, but she's like, where are these things coming from? Like you don't know what a gecko is? It's like the Geico commercial. I see everybody's, Okay. You know what? Tony and Cochran started something here. He writes in, he says, I'm thankful that the Flames are above 500 for the first time since ... Christ was a cowboy. What are you thankful for, everybody? Which is kind of, it's a little ironic because this morning I was in a 12-step meeting. Spoiler alert, I'm in recovery. Right in this very room. I was on a Zoom 12-step meeting, and the topic was gratitude. And I said, how about this? The normies, the normal people like you, the earthlings, are thankful one weekend a year. We're thankful every day to just be alive. But what are you thankful for, everybody, this weekend? What are you thankful for this weekend? Tony and Cochran's thankful the Flames are 1-0. I'll take it. Mandy, she says, Rod, what about the Riders BC game? I'm sorry, Mandy, but I'm not a jukebox where you can just plug in a quarter and I'll tell you, I'm just not that. We talked about it an hour ago at length with the sports doc, Dave Patrician. Talked about it with Jim Barker. Hit rewind. Scott in Toronto wrote in and said, 2022, Nathan Rourke is going to show up at this game. I said, what, in a pumpkin? In a time machine? We talked about it all an hour ago. I'm sorry, I can't. We need you to be on time, Mandy. Coffee starts at 10 a.m. Mountain. I'm sorry. We can't be changing the rules on an ad hoc basis. John Ohm says, I'm thankful for the RP show. Best darn show ever. Carlos says, we're thankful for this show. One of the best out there. And here's the thing. I used to be scared. I was scared of everything, but scared to go on the air on my own, my last job. Nothing scares me anymore.
Mike Vanderjagt coming up, by the way. He is not a Super Bowl winning kicker. I thought he was. Two-time Grey Cup winning kicker, or punter. Won an Arena League championship, but he got out of Indy just before the Colts won a Super Bowl. Learned that today. Mike Vanderjagt coming up in the next segment. Okay, we're going to play NFL Deal or No Deal. There's no Moose. Moose ain't here. He's in Indonesia on vacation. Learning how to breathe is what I've learned about what Moose is doing. Over here, let's go. NFL Deal or No Deal. Jacksonville plays Chicago in London, Ontario on Sunday as the NFL's Global Series continues. The Bears are favored by one. The Bears are what? No, they're not. I'm taking Jacksonville. No deal from me. Jags coming off their best game of the season last week. Maybe they don't hate head coach Doug Pedersen. Sneaky good game, NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. Believe it or not, the Bucs are favored by 3.5. That's probably not a surprise because Derek Carr is injured, the Saints quarterback, and they have lost 3 in a row. I'll take the deal. I'm a Baker guy. As you know, met him at Super Bowl last year, and I love that kid. Arizona at Green Bay. Jordan Love has an ugly penchant for throwing interceptions, but they still win. They're playing the Cardinals, not the Rams, but I still don't think I'm out of 4. 4.5 is the spread for the Packers. I'll take the deal. Indianapolis Colts at Tennessee. Moose's Titans are favored by 2.5. The Colts are the most injured team in the National Football League. That's what I read today. Anthony Richardson still a question mark. I'll take the deal. Okay, Tony, cover your ears in Cochrane. Cleveland Browns fan. They're at Philadelphia. The Eagles are favored by 9.5. There's so much heat on Deshaun Watson, and while I don't like him at all, I think they'll beat the spread. No deal. Houston Texans at the New England Patriots. Drake May makes his first ever NFL start with a really bad New England team, and the Texans might be the best team in the NFL. I'll take the deal. They're covered to cover. They are favored by 6.5. Sneaky good game of the week. Washington Commanders at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens have won 3 in a row after an 0-2 start. The Commanders are 4-1 and the story of the season, but you know what? Their pumpkin's about to turn into midnight, or however that works. I got the Ravens to cover. Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos. Chargers have lost 2 in a row. Chargers have lost 2 in a row. Broncos have won 3 in a row. I'm getting on the Bo Nick, Sean Payton bandwagon. No deal for me. I'll take the Broncos to not only beat the spread, but win the game outright. Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. The Steelers are favored by 3. The Raiders are making a quarterback change. I don't know why it's only 3 points. The Steelers don't even know who their quarterback's going to be, I don't think. I don't think it matters. I got the Steelers by at least 3. Atlanta at Carolina. The Falcons favored by 6. Do the Hurricanes or the Panthers know who their goaltender is going to be? I'm thinking about NHL breakaway bets coming. I'm going to do that before this segment's over. Falcons at Panthers. Atlanta favored by 6. I'll take the deal. Game of the week is Detroit at Dallas. It's a measuring stick for both teams. Cowboys haven't won at home yet. They're 0-2. They're coming off that big win over the New York Football Giants on Thursday Night Football. But Micah Parsons is not playing, nor is DeMarcus Lawrence. I got Detroit to cover. They're favored by 3. Cincinnati at the New York Giants. The beleaguered Bengals are favored by 3.5. And I'm believing in some of that New York magic. I'm going to take New York. No deal here. And then the Bills against the Jets on Monday Night Football. The coaching change. The Jets are a disaster. The Bills are favored by 2.5. I'll take the deal. Deal or No Deal brought to you by our official betting partner, Covers.com. Tony writes in and says, wow, but not a chance unless they sit Deshaun Watson, Rod. No deal. And no deal, same as me. That's what I said.
Arlen Bruce III writes it. You showed up just in time, AB. He says, great morning, RP. Quick question about college football. Do you think Travis Hunter will win the Heisman Trophy? Also, will Coach Prime be Coach of the Year? Happy Thanksgiving. Travis Hunter, the receiver for the Colorado Buffaloes? No. It's going to be Cam Ward, the quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes, who resides just down the street, AB. You should know that. Cam Ward will be the Heisman Trophy winner. But Prime is on the way to being Coach of the Year. And then he'll just waltz into Dallas and coach the Dallas Cowboys. America's team. One can hope. Thanks for the question. Breakaway bets tonight, Tampa Bay at Carolina, where we picked the NHL bet. I've sucked at my bets for the NHL so far this year. I'm going to take the Lightning to win. Hey, where's our VP of Sim Events, Nelson? I need the computer on this. The computer beat me on Wednesday night. Tampa Bay at Carolina, I got the Lightning. Chicago Blackhawks at the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, I'll take the Jets. Hope I don't jinx you, Winnipeg. St. Louis Blues at the Vegas Golden Knights. The Blues blew a big lead last night in San Jose. I'm taking the Golden Knights to roll like they did over the Avalanche in the home opener the other night. And Philadelphia at Vancouver, definitely a Canucks win after they blew it against the Flames the other night. Again, our breakaway NHL bets for covers.com. Mike Vanderjagt is in next. Let's see what we learned from him today. Always a fun and engaging interview. Two-time Grey Cup champion, Pro Bowler, Arena League champion, Mike Vanderjagt next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, folks. Hour 2 brought to you by Culligan. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. We appreciate their sponsorship of the RP Show as we talk football on Fridays, a football extravaganza, as somebody wrote in here and said earlier. And that continues with Mike Vanderjack, who is a guy that I always learn something from every time. He's not flexing the biceps today, though. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, what's up in your life since the last we talked, man?
Well, first of all, I was listening to your show before I came on, and you said the NFL game is in London, Ontario, which I found kind of interesting.
Did I say that? Isn't it?
I don't think Western Ontario is hosting the Bears and the Jaguars this Sunday.
Oh, man, wouldn't
certainly
that be
not
something?
at 9:30 in the
Wouldn't that be
morning.
something? Yeah, that's what happens when I do this show alone. Continue.
And the other thing is, which is crazy, and I don't know where this came from, but I never even played for the Tampa Bay Storm. I never won an Arena League championship with them. And you're not the first guy, believe me. It's up there somewhere. I have no idea where it came from.
Oh, what did I tell you? I always learn something every time I talk to you.
So when you learn something new every day, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, said Arena Bowl champion, Arena Bowl 9. Obviously, you don't care enough to have it removed from your Wikipedia, Mike.
I mean, I wouldn't even know how to do it, so we'll just we'll let the myth continue.
Okay, listen. As I say, I always learn something from you. Last time you were on, you talked about Matt DeBuck being teammates. You said, "Say hi to little Matt for me." So I went straight to the high school game that he coaches at, and I did say hey, and he talked about the championship that you guys lovingly won together with the Toronto Argonauts. Would you mind telling me a story from your 2 Grey Cup wins with the Argos, whether it involves Jim Barker, who was on with us last hour, or Doug Flutie, or anything? You smile already when I bring up that era, so that you obviously recall it fondly.
So I have 2 stories. One is kind of well known, but maybe you don't know it, is when we won the Grey Cup, everybody gets the opportunity to have sign out the Grey Cup for the weekend. So I signed it out. I brought it down to a restaurant/bar in Oakville, Ontario, my hometown, and everybody was taking pictures with it, and we were having a good old time, and I was kind of just milling around the bar for the evening. End of the night comes, I go to take the Grey Cup back home, and it's gone. So I always say I've been in 2 Grey Cups. I've won 2 and lost 1 because somebody took it. A college girl at Sheridan College got home from her night out, and it was in her kitchen. So she called the police and said, the Grey Cup is in my kitchen.
Are you ever lucky?
Yeah. So
like real lucky.
Yeah. And I actually spent the night at Mike O'Shea's house with, I can't remember what female it was, but anyway, it was one of those single guy nights out, and it ended up fine. I got it back, so that was all good. My second story is that in '96, I was 5 for 5. I won the Canadian MVP of the Grey Cup. Doug Flutie was the MVP. Doug wins a truck, and I win 2 tickets that Canadian Airlines flies. So year later, I go 4 for 4, we win the Grey Cup again. Doug wins the truck. Paul Massotti ends up being the Canadian MVP, and Doug gives Paul the truck. And I'm like, well, hello, I go 9 for 9, and you're giving Paul the truck, and so anyway, that was. I sat with Doug at a Super Bowl event, I think 2 years ago, and I certainly brought that up to him.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is, was Mike Morreale on one of those teams with you? In 97, so his dad. Yeah, okay. Well, his dad now is like a custodian of the Grey Cup. I'm not sure you knew that. So he travels around with it. When we won it in Saskatchewan, it has a bodyguard. It's probably thanks to you, so that it doesn't ever get stolen again. And Mike, as we head into Thanksgiving, I asked the viewers earlier, what are they thankful for? As I look at your career here, it is pretty darn special. What are you most thankful for of everything as we head into Thanksgiving weekend in Canada?
So outside of the obvious, obviously my son actually, who's going into the CFL draft this spring. So that's pretty exciting for a family. He's a quarterback and a punter and a kicker. So I think that's going to bode well for him. He's primarily a quarterback, but I've told him, do more you can. So we've really honed in on punting and kicking, which I think he's done a great job for. So we're excited for that. So thankful that my son is healthy, obviously more than anything, as anybody would be. But from a sports standpoint, I would say I'm thankful for Simeon Rice. So now you ask yourself, what's Mike talking about? Why is he thankful for Simeon Rice? Because most people might remember a overtime game where the Colts were down 21 with 4 minutes to go on a Monday night game in Tampa Bay. And we end up tying the game and going into overtime. And this is the year I didn't miss a field goal. So I think it was a 39-yarder and I missed. But Simeon Rice got called for leaping because he tried to block the kick and landed on one of his own teammates, and you can't do that. So we moved the ball up 15 yards, and I chunked the next field goal off the right upright, and it goes in, and the streak continues. So the year, maybe the greatest year of kickers that has ever been. I didn't miss anything, extra points, field goals, postseason, nothing. And when I do autograph signings, a lot of people wanted me to write 2003 perfect season, which is kind of exciting that I have that. But I would say I'm thankful for Simeon Rice for leaping.
And and thank God for that penalty, which is still a penalty. Carlos, ironically or fittingly, in Indianapolis writes, and he says, story times are often fun, especially on this show. A lot of people here have stories to tell. Mike Vanderjack has several. And here's the interesting thing. I didn't know about your kid. I'll tell you this about DeBuck. He's got two boys, one playing at South Florida as a long snapper, and the other a senior at Cardinal Gibbons High School here in Fort Lauderdale. And they both will be eligible for the CFL draft, might end up playing against or with your kid in the Canadian Football League. And I just wonder, obviously you didn't try to dissuade him from playing football. A lot of guys do. But what's your tutelage of your son in the game?
Well, I constantly tell him wear shorts to work as long as humanly possible. So, I think being a professional athlete opens a lot of doors, as a young 20-something-year-old trying to find your way in life. And, finding a job is difficult and finding what you like to do is difficult. But if you enjoy football and you can do it for a long time, I think it opens a lot of doors. He loves to fish. So, you only work 6 months. So, aside from the goal of being a professional athlete, I think, finding something you enjoy doing, all of that comes along with it. And, I think we're headed in a good direction with him. We'll see what happens obviously in the spring, but he's ready to go.
So the audience all just perked up. Colin in Ottawa says, what school does Mike's son go to? Mandy in Edmonton says, what's his son's name? Who should we watch for in the CFL? They all just, whoa, okay, what? So tell us more, please.
So he went to the University of Findlay, which is a Division II school in Ohio. He's graduated. He played at a JUCO in California, which one of his teammates was Jalen Watson of the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's kind of cool. Very, very much a Division I kickback program out in California. A lot of kids that maybe didn't have the grades to go to a D1 school or are at a D1 school and weren't happy. Well, now it's the portal. Back then there wasn't a portal, so you jump back to a JUCO. So he played out in California, played a little bit in Ohio. He's Canadian, born in the Oakville Hospital. His name is Jay. So he's 6'2.5", 200 pounds, and he's a really, really good quarterback, and I think he's going to do a lot of good things.
Did he ever kick?
Everybody says, hey, do you have kids? I'm like, yeah, my son plays football in college. And they're like, oh, is he a kicker? And I'm like, hell no, he's not a kicker. That is a thankless job. You retire as the most accurate kicker, and anybody only wants to talk about the ones you've missed. So I steer him away from it. And certainly with the last name Vanderjagt is if he does end up banging some field goals, it's going to be a little difficult for him to, I don't want to say not live up to the standards of his father, but I just think he's carved his own path as a quarterback. I went to Michigan State out of high school as a quarterback, so we certainly enjoy throwing the ball back and forth to each other, but he spins it pretty good.
Okay, well, that's outstanding, and I'm actually glad he's not a kicker because, again, Deron Carter is the receivers coach at DeBuck School on that team, and that's the pressure living in his dad's shadow. I think it's evident it was not good for Deron. So I'm glad that your kid's a quarterback and will be watching for that. And, of course, we got Curtis Rourke of Indiana eligible in the CFL draft, too. So all of a sudden, things just got very interesting heading into next spring for the CFL draft. Mike is, well, look, I said I always learn something from you. You corrected my mistakes. This has been a very fruitful chat. Happy Thanksgiving, Mike. It's good seeing you again.
You too, brother. You're kicking me to the curb already? That's it?
Yeah, we got to go. Got to run, man. We're done. We're done.
All right, brother.
Leave them wanting
Be good.
more,
Have a good
Mike.
weekend.
Leave them wanting more. You too. You too. Mike Vanderjagt, record-holding Grey Cup champion, not Arena Bowl champion kicker, joining us on the RP Show. We'll be right back with a sports update and a final viewer takeover in overtime after this. You're watching on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube as always, and of course Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, everybody, we are back for the final time this week, and it's a little segment that we like to call Overtime. Hockey teams, are you looking for just the right place for your team building sessions and outings? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. With state-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, and games for all ages, Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination to build teams, whether you're from the Calgary area or if you're on a road trip from out of town. Book your lanes today, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Before I get into the sports update, at least Roy Shivers put a tie on for the Plaza of Honor induction last night, Rough Riders' version of the Hall of Fame. I said, Rider fans, where you at? Let's hear from you. Been pretty quiet today heading into this big game on Saturday, the Plaza game. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, hi, Rod. I'm a Rider fan living in Victoria, so I'm out of the loop somewhat. Luckily, thanks to the internet, I can follow the Riders better than 20 or 30 years ago. Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba writes in. He says, the Riders will beat the Lions. If Toronto beats the Bombers, makes first place interesting in the final weekend. Ron in Calgary writes in, says, hey, Rod, looking forward to seeing a Rider win and clinch home field advantage. By the way, did you ever spend time out at Regina Beach? Bluebird Cafe, best fish and chips. I believe it's called Butler's now. And did I spend time at Regina Beach? I spent time everywhere, brother. I lived there for half a century. But yes, very special way they make the fish and chips at Butler's now, though they still have that same Bluebird logo. Right on Main Street, Regina Beach. Laverne in Swift Current writes in. He says, hey, Rod, so much to be thankful for, from my family to friends, which I consider you. Enjoy your turkey subs and happy Thanksgiving from Speedy Creek. Thank you, Laverne. Yeah, we're heading to the Florida Keys for the weekend. It is as awesome as it sounds. Enjoying Canadian Thanksgiving there for a second consecutive year. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Gobble, gobble. And he says, go, Stamps, go. Arlen Bruce III writes in. He says, here's a great line from Peyton Manning. We were talking about a kicker who got liquored up and is talking trash. Hilarious. BC Lions by 10. BC Lions versus blank in the Grey Cup, November 2024. Thank you, James Warnicki. He writes in. He says, another great show, Rod. Like I said, we're not going to talk CFL 2 hours every day. We could, but we're not going to. But we limit it to Fridays, and that makes it very special. Wouldn't you agree? Now, the other sports. All-star Scotty Barnes returns to the Toronto Raptors lineup as they visit the Washington Wizards in NBA preseason action. Wow, this says Washington Bullets.
Get a sound effect for that. Are you paying attention, Tuna Turner? You can't call them the Bullets anymore. That'll work. Here's a funny thing. I put on Twitter this morning, I said they should have live streamed the speeches last night because apparently you kind of got to be from the rectangle and inside the cult. Let's just say the cult. You got to be in the cult to appreciate this. But Roy Shivers apparently dropped Tom Shepard's name 4 times. He's the owner of the Rough Riders, and they've got a long-standing hatred towards each other. And I said they should have live streamed Shivers' speech. And somebody said, Rod, you're the reason probably they're not live streaming it. Oh, yeah. They said 2007 was the first time society became not able to take a joke. Because I got up and told some off-color blue jokes. Might have sworn a little bit, offended some people. It's what I do. It's politically correct. You can't say Washington Bullets anymore. You can't make jokes like I did. I think I used the term midget. That upset people. This will be Scotty Barnes' first game in over 7 months after breaking his left hand in March. The 2023 NBA Rookie of the Year signed a 5-year, $225 million extension in July. Dodgers pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto faces off against San Diego's Yu Darvish in the decisive Game 5 of the National League Division Series tonight. The winner will meet the New York Mets in the NLCS. Sports Update is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off at checkout. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas and their rewards program, Landmark Extras, get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. Check out landmarkcinemas.com to register for free today. Thanks to Mike Vanderjack, the sports doctor, Jim Barker. I'm thankful for you, the viewers, and our wonderful staff at IKS, because without all of you, there would definitely be no me. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Tuesday.
Who has more fun than us?